What is up YouTube and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mandarin Metal, and yes, the F1 season has wrapped up, but our videos are ramping up. We're doing more F1 videos each day. We're going to be doing 2 videos a week now, hoping to finish this career mode as soon as possible. And as you can see, we are in Miami. Let's hit the beaches, but no, we are going to hit the track. Now it's a very short week between Miami and Azerbaijan, so yeah, as you can see, our car development, we need to do some upgrades because after the performance in Baku, we weren't doing great. It wasn't a good performance. I did not feel the upgrades in the car. It was difficult to drive the car in Baku, so I'm hoping for a much better race in Miami, but only time will tell. Now again, I'm trying to focus on some upgrades, but a lot of them are only going to happen after the Miami Grand Prix because we're going to do major upgrades. So we're kind of aiming for Monaco after the Imola Grand Prix for this weight reduction. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the upgrade in terms of upgrades. And like you can see, we are currently the 6th best team on the grid, but we're hoping at least by the mid-year break we can be more competitive, maybe 3rd best or at least 4th best team. Now, in terms of tires, I want to try something different for our races. I want to kind of use an extra set of mediums in our quali. I won't actually use them, but it does help when we need an extra set of mediums for an alternative strategy, to say the least, just to, make sure we are a little bit more competitive. Now, we can see here, quali and practice 3 are going to be very interesting because it looks like it's raining in qualifying, especially towards the end of qualifying. So that's going to be a very interesting one. We're going to have to manage that quite well. And we've got a few new programs here that we are going to run today. Now, I did set some banker times on my on a hard tire. As you can see, I ended up being P5. It wasn't too bad. And now what we're doing is we're doing ERS management. So what ERS management is, we need to manage our energy in our car. So the more energy we deploy, the less efficient it's going to be. So we kind of need to find the sweet spot of using enough and not too much. Now you can see as we go on the lap, I do use some of my ERS, but I'm hoping I'm trying to get it in that sweet spot, like I said. Now yeah, you see the dip it takes as soon as you start using overtake. Now you've only got 2 options, you've got non and overtake, and as soon as you start using more overtake, the efficiency of your energy is depleted quite a bit. Miami is quite a tricky circuit. It's fast with slow corners, and then the end of sector 2 is probably the trickiest part of the track because if you nail it, you can get a lot of time, but if you don't, you lose a hell of a lot of time. And I did experience this as the Grand Prix goes on. Now you can see, energy-wise, I'm pretty good with managing it, bearing in mind I didn't use any of my energy throughout the lap. And yeah, that's our ERS management program. Nailed it pretty well, and we are happy with that. Now going back to the garage, you can see the green and the red where I use kind of a lot of energy. The red is what we were trying to have. We didn't want to have too many reds, and most of the lap it's good, which I'm happy with. And then we've got some race strategies. Now again, race strategy, the previous race wasn't too great. Also, we do get hit with a 10-minute rain warning, so we need to get this done as quickly as we can. We don't want to get caught up by the rain. Each lap, the first sectors weren't too great, but then as the lap went on, I started improving a lot more. And like with every track, all I want to do is, with these, I try practice as much as I can. As you can see, I cut the corner a little bit there. It's not good for me. But these are the mistakes that I try and better every lap. So a lot of the time off camera, what you guys don't see is I'm practicing on the hards and I'm doing lap after lap after lap, because I need to perfect each corner, making sure that I'm not crashing out, or I'm going to be at least a little bit competitive in the race when it comes to it. And we hit optimal pace. These tires were quite used, so that's why we didn't get the best lap times that we could have, because we've now moved that medium over to quali and hoping to have a better race strategy coming into the Grand Prix. Now at the end of the session, I think we ended up P7, if I remember correctly. Oh no, it was P8 with a 131.6, 1.2 seconds off the pace, but I didn't do a run on the soft tires. Thought it was unnecessary. I got the programs that I wanted to out of the way, race strategy and my ERS management. And then going into practice 2, we're going to look at doing I think it's our tire management program that we have left that we have to do, and this is it. This is the tire management program, and usually with the tire management program you do it on a medium tire, but I'm doing it on the soft tires, and the wear was quite high, so I was not achieving optimal wear on the tire, and the times that when I was achieving it, I was just nowhere to be seen in terms of pace. So I just could not hit the sweet spot, but that also could be hopefully fixed with more development down the lines. I know we have some tire wear upgrades that we can do and we can bring to the table. And I shoot back to the pit because I am not happy with that lap. I think Mark wants me to do another lap, but I just couldn't care. I mean, I looked at some of the data and it's like it's one lap off. One lap, I mean, earlier I can put in some good times and hopefully we can jump the guys. We can get an undercut on some of these guys. So my best lap time that I set in Q2 was a 129.9. Very happy with that pace. I set it quite early on in the session. So yeah, it was a very good pace and I was happy with it. And now we are going to head to our qualifying sessions. Are we going to make it? There is rain forecast, and with Parc Ferme, I can't change my setup really. So it is going to make, I'm looking at it at the tail end of Q3, it's going to make it a little difficult. So we're going to have to get out nice and early on the track, make sure we have track position, and we are setting some flyers in before that rain hits, and hopefully we can catch a couple of guys out. Now, going into quali, we can see Q1, Q2, and Q3, there's rain predicted. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, I need to get out. I need to start setting some lap times here. And this is my first lap of Q1. Now, coming towards the end of it, it wasn't the best lap from my side, I would say. I could have been better. I mean, it is a 130.4, but as you can see now, skipping through some of the session, we're sitting on 8th position. And yeah, we need to go out again. We need to make sure we can secure a Q2 finish. This is going to be very important. Now, starting our final lap of Q1. Will we make it out? Let's ride on board. Now, you want to be in 3rd gear when you hit this first corner there. Then you're going to go up into 4th, all the way to 5th. And you need to try and stick as close to the racing line as possible. Then you're going to hit 7th, and riding on board here, we're going to hit 6th and 5th gear through these sections. I find 5th gear is quite useful. It just gives you more control over the car than 6th gear. And now we're up into this nice little long straight, and we're going to go right on board all the way with 8th gear. I've got, I think it's one of the Ferraris behind me. Yeah, it's Carlos Sainz behind me, and we brake. It's heavy braking zone all the way up into 2nd. Then over here you want to ride in 3rd gear, coming around this turn. Again, I play around with the gears, go up to fourth, going to third. I cut the corner a little there. Poor showing for me. I get the warning. I don't get a penalty, which I'm very happy about. Otherwise, it would have been very devastating. But again, lapse of judgment from my side. I completely shot the corner. And I do, hopefully, with the laps to come, I rectify this. Now, we are 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds up on the pace, up into 5th gear, 6th, hit the curb a little, 7th gear, and we are first. So we get first place for Q1. This means absolutely nothing to me. All this means is that I secure my spot in Q2, but I don't get pole position. I'm not starting in the front row of the grid. So like I say, I don't care. And we've got Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz finishing the top 3 for Q1. Heading into Q2, what's going to happen? And what would you know? It's raining. I have to go out on the intermediate tire. And I struggled quite a bit in Q2 because I needed to reevaluate my braking zones, because now with the wet tires you have to brake a little earlier, your turn in has to be perfect, and now we're going to ride on board for some of this lap. Will this lap get us out of Q2? We don't know. I am first in line here. I think it's the best spot in terms of the rain, because you never know what happens with yellow flags and all that jazz, so we don't want to risk it. Now we are 2/10 up, almost 3/10 up, going into the final sector here, around the final 2 bends here. Again, I lost a little bit of time, but then getting this exit, I absolutely nailed it. So it does help, and we're pushing up to the line, 7th gear, and where does it put us? It puts us P5. We're happy with this. It's not P1, but it's fine. P5, it just means we get to go through to Q3. We secure a Q3 spot. And that's what we want. This is where we fight for pole. This is where we fight for a good Sunday race, or good Grand Prix, should I say. And 5/10 off the pace, so I do need to find a hell of a lot of time, which is not ideal. Now in Q3, the rain did ease off a little towards the end of the session. I was hoping we would go to a fully dried track, but we didn't. My Q1 time, so bearing in mind Q2, I did a 140.1, and my Q1 time was a 139.9. So I improved by 2/10, and everyone else is also just flying through this lap. And we will definitely go out again. Now we're using our last set of fresh intermediate tires. So if it does rain in the race, we might be screwed, but hey, the game's the game. We want the best possible outcome. 1 minute left of the session. I am down in 7th place. Let's ride on board here. 2nd gear. It just gives you the best rotation here. Slowly up through the gears. You don't want to overcommit, otherwise you are going to be too slow. And here you're going back down into 6th, but I go into 5th gear just because it felt a lot better with the wet tires. And you can see with that I improved by 2/10 in the first sector, 3/10 running up to the end of sector 1, 5/10 improvement on my previous best. And this could look like a very, very good lap for Q3. Will it put me on provisional pole? Will it put me on pole? We don't know. And 6/10 up going into this tricky section. As you can see, you have to be very close to the wall here, straighten up your car, then try to take the wide line here, hit this perfectly, jump the curb a little here, making sure all 4 tires are within track limit so you don't overcommit, you don't get track limit warnings. We are 1 second up. Max Verstappen has just put in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, of qualifying, so he is on provisional pole at the moment. So George Russell has just put in a 138.2. He is on provisional pole. Are we able to improve? Are we able to get pole position? Are we able to snatch it from the Mercedes or the Red Bulls? 1.1 second up. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. Where does it put us? It puts us P5, again the same lap or the same position as we ended our Q2 with. Okay, so what is our Grand Prix looking like? And yeah, that was a fun quali, and we are P5, so we are again same as Q2. We were 5/10 off the pace. Now your top three are Russell, Verstappen, and Hamilton. Very, very good showing from them. And yeah, the Grand Prix is looking like it's going to be an exciting one. Let's have a look at our Miami Grand Prix.
Florida is no stranger to world-class sports, and as of 2022, the USA's Sunshine State is now on the F1 calendar. Welcome back to the Magic City for the Miami Grand Prix. With great opportunities for wheel-to-wheel battles featuring 19 corners, 3.36 miles long, and expected average speeds of 138 miles an hour, the Miami International Autodrome will be sure to create lots of chances to overtake. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Iceman, Perez, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Ocon, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Magnussen, Gasly, Albon, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Fittipaldi, Ricciardo, Stroll, Joe, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
And there you have it, guys. That is the classification for this Grand Prix. It is 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5. And we are underway for the Miami Grand Prix. I get an amazing start. Leclerc on my outside. I go down the middle between Hamilton and Verstappen. A little bit of contact between myself and Hamilton. More contact there, but I hold on to the position. Now, with that already, Russell 1.1 seconds up the road. It was an amazing start, but there is a little bit of contact. I do get a warning, but luckily, no penalty. Now I have an absolutely terrible time with this sector. Now we have to think about this as well. Leclerc is on those soft tires. He's going to be a lot quicker than I am down the straight. I have to make my car as wide as possible. Will we be able to hang on to P2 of this Grand Prix? 4/10 behind me. Russell already 2 seconds ahead of us. It is looking quite dangerous. Again, I don't get a good corner. Now there's some shenanigans going on behind me here. I don't know what's going on with these guys, but it is fine. And at the end of Sector 2, we are 2.6 seconds from Russell, with Leclerc breathing down my neck. He is 3/10, 1/10, and he is going to overtake us over here. But it's okay. We're going to hold on. We're going to just tuck in right behind him, see if we can outbrake him, but no, we don't. He holds on to P2. Hamilton 1 second from us now. And we are on the final spot of the podium. Again, almost running wide there, corner cutting, and that's one thing we don't want to do. 1:37 for our first lap. Leclerc is just ahead of me. Hamilton also breathing down my neck on those soft tires. And one thing I have to mention that I did not mention in the earlier in the video is that the upgrades that we bought in Baku, we can definitely feel them in Miami. The car feels a lot more stable, a lot more grippy than what it did in the previous race, which is absolutely amazing because it helps us in this championship fight. We need these crucial upgrades. Okay, Leclerc 1.2 seconds ahead of me, Hamilton breathing down my neck, but I am making my car as wide as possible, driving in the middle of the road, trying to secure this final podium position. I don't want him to overtake me. And going into this tricky section over here, I again make a little bit of mistake, but at least I don't get a corner cutting warning, because that would have been devastating. We would have gotten a penalty. And Hamilton, I think there was a little bit of contact between us, because again I didn't nail that section, and he is gonna overtake me now. Again, tucking in right behind him, seeing if I can be late on the brakes, but I'm not. He does move in my braking zone just to make sure I don't overtake him. You can see why he is a 7-time world champion. Russell with the 132. Now on lap 7, Perez started catching me, and he does overtake me here. And again, they overtake me always at the end of the section, but I'm late on the brakes this time. He doesn't hang on to P4, so we do secure the spot. We were down on the inside, and now we just need to manage this gap between myself and Perez, making sure he can't overtake me again, saving as much of our ERS for those long straights so they cannot overtake us. Now on lap 8, we can see back into this end of sector 2, I go to run a little wide. Perez tries to dive down the inside. There's a bit of contact between us. I don't know what he was thinking. That's a very risky move from him, and it's a virtual safety car. We need to slow down, keep our pace, making sure we stick to that delta time, otherwise we do risk a penalty. Lap 9, the safety car is about to end, or the VSC is about to end, and we are back underway for the Miami Grand Prix. Perez now 1.7 seconds behind me, 1.6, which is good. So I did gain a little bit of time on him under the virtual safety car. On lap 10, I decide to box for a new set of tires, because my tires at this point are shot. There is no way I can go any more or any longer into this Grand Prix with these tires, because they are horrendous. I'm sliding around, and I am going to put on a new set of medium tires, do another 10 laps, and then for the last 8 laps I want to do a soft tire. And you can see it's a good pit stop from the team. I have a little bit of car damage with the contact with Hamilton in the beginning of the race, but it's okay. We have managed it. We didn't feel it too much, which is nice, not compared to other races where we could feel the damage. And going on to lap 12, we are going to ride on board as we see if we can set the fastest lap. We have a lot of overtaking to do. We are on the medium tires. You can see I've got a bit of front wing damage. I've got some bodywork damage as well. And at the moment, we are 4/10 up on our previous best. And this is only sector 1. So the fresh rubber is really good. 6/10 up, 2.4 seconds behind Albon. He is on old tires, and we are on the fresher tires, so we should be able to catch him. The grip level that we get in this, the tail end of this sector of the Miami Grand Prix, it is amazing. So you really can commit to these corners, which is nice. 1.5 seconds up now on my previous best. We are 5/10 behind Albon. We do have DRS. Are we going to be able to overtake him? I hit a bit of the overtake, up into 8th gear, and he's a little bit later on the brakes, later than I am. I go around the outside. We leave enough room for each other, and I do secure 19th spot. There's a lot of people coming in to the pits now, but that's okay. I set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:31.2. Amazing. Hamilton has just come out of the pits. And where is it going to put us? Am I able to get Hamilton? So it means the undercut has done an amazing job in this Grand Prix. We managed to secure P13. We are ahead of Hamilton. And now Hulkenberg is our next victim. He's on the chopping block. And again, very tight. And we secure P12. A lot of these other drivers ahead of us need to come into the pit. We are looking good for a possible podium finish of this Grand Prix. Ocon ahead of me. We are now up into 8th place. Lap 15. And there's a little bit of a DRS train here, and this has helped us dramatically for this race because it puts us in contention to fight for at least a podium spot. We won't fight for the win. I think Russell is way too far ahead of us. And now let's look at Ocon. He's our next victim, and we dive down the inside and we secure there. He doesn't want to give up this place, but he does. There is a little bit of contact between us, and we secure P5. Magnussen is next on the chopping block, the next person to overtake. We just need to stick with him, make sure we can secure P4. And let's have a look. Again, the grip levels that we can get on these tires now are amazing, just because they're a lot newer. And I am 6/10 behind Magnussen, but Perez is right up my tail. He's just behind me. Where did he come from? He's been nowhere. I thought I left him behind, but he's now caught up to us, and this is going to make it a lot trickier. We need to kind of get a buffer in between us, so I need to overtake Magnussen as quickly as possible to ensure that I have a buffer between myself and Perez. Hopefully I can then scamper off into the distance once I overtake him. But he is in the Red Bull. It is quite fast. Now, there is a caution. What is going on here? Yellow flag in Sector 3. What has happened? It looks like my rival, Perez, is out of the race. What? What happened there? I wonder if he hit the wall. He might have made a mistake. That does mean we keep the last podium spot of the Miami Grand Prix. Going on to lap 18, we have Alonso 2.5 seconds behind us and Russell 16 seconds. Now on lap 20, we have a 23 gap from Russell, and Alonso is breathing down our neck. Felt quite intimidating, so I decided to box for a new set of tires because these tires, again, they were feeling quite worn. We also know the damage we can inflict on these guys when we do have a set of new rubber. And yeah, so there we have it. There is our tire wear for the second stint on the mediums. Not looking too good. This is why I was sliding around so much. Good pit stop this time for my team. And we are currently down into 14th spot. Hamilton does overtake us over here, but are we able to get out in front of him? And it's going to be, it is very tight. He does get ahead of us, and we are now in 15th spot. But we are on the fresher rubber. We should be able to overtake him if we nail the next set of corners. Going into sector 2 with the DRS zone, this is going to help us either overtake him or at least get close enough to him that we can overtake him in sector 3. Now riding on board, let's have a look where we end up. He is 8/10, DRS is wide open up into 8th gear. He's 7/10, we are catching him very quickly, but there is a yellow flag in sector 2. And it is my teammate. My teammate has spun. What? And it's a red flag. It's the worst possible time. The timing of this red flag was absolutely atrocious. We had just boxed. If we had stayed out for a lap longer, we would have had a better opportunity. But we are now in 14th spot, and we are again underway for the Miami Grand Prix. Moving over to the left, down the middle of a lot of these cars. We are now up into 13th spot. And what are we going to get at the end? Now we're in 12th. Hamilton and I again, we're making contact. There's a lot of traffic ahead of us, so we need to be clinical. We need to make sure we're able to clear these guys. And Hamilton, he tries to go down the inside, but he just can't stick it, and I managed to secure 12th spot. Magnussen ahead of me. He is 9/10 ahead, and then Gasly just ahead of him. That is what we are aiming for now. We want to secure the final points position. I think we can do even better, but we will have to see how the rest of the Grand Prix goes. Hamilton is also going to pressure me a lot, being in a faster car, and he is 3/10 behind me. In this sector, I have nailed most of the time, getting close to my rivals, almost hitting the back of Magnussen there with overshooting it, but I secure it. I am right behind him. and we are going to ride on board. It is now lap 24 of the Miami Grand Prix, and here we go. Magnussen moves a little to the left. I am going to go around the outside of Magnussen, and I dive down the inside of Gasly. Is it a 2-for-1? It is a 2-for-1 special, but Gasly does not want to give up this position. Eventually he does have to, but he's fighting it. He's on my inside, but I do secure. Again, a little bit of contact between myself and Gasly, but we secure the 10th position. Now, lap 27. Carlos Sainz is just ahead of me, then it's Alonso and Verstappen. We want to overtake these guys. We want to secure as many points as possible, because this is also going to be good for our weekly goals. Making sure we secure 5 points, or at least one constructor's point, is going to help us with weekly income. And we are, again, it's a 2-for-1 special. Alonso caught napping on lap 27. I managed to overtake both the Ferrari and the Aston Martin. I think it was Bottas who just dived into the pit lane. I wonder if he's maybe got some damage. And now we are looking at overtaking Verstappen, which I think is a pipe dream. I think 7th is the best we might get for this Grand Prix, but it was starting P5 and fighting these guys. It did show us the upgrades were working quite nicely, and the car felt a lot better, especially when we had fresher rubber and we were able to attack in fresh air. Verstappen is just too far ahead of me at this point, 1.4 seconds up the road, but I do have Sainz and Alonso breathing down my neck. Going on to lap 29. This is the final lap of the Grand Prix. Will we be able to secure our P7 finish? We don't know. I have not got a lot of ERS to play with. I need to play my cards right. I have to nail each corner. Each exit needs to be precise, otherwise I will lose the position. And I need to make my car as wide as possible here, trying to think of how I can defend it. Just putting my car firmly in the middle of the track, making sure Carlos Sainz cannot overtake me. He's also got Alonso trying to overtake him. And again, there's some contact between myself and Carlos Sainz. I throw my hands up in the air, and with him I just don't care, but it is again more contact. He is trying to fight a position in a place where we won't be able to fight. This is a very tricky section. If he makes a mistake, he is out of the Grand Prix. And now the final sequence of this race. He is 4/10 behind me, Carlos Sainz. I move a little bit to the outside. I'm trying to keep the inside line, but he's just too quick. I'm very late on the brakes, and there's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but it's okay. Are we able to secure P7? I'm currently P7. No, I'm P8. Carlos Sainz, there's contact, there's damage to my wing, and it puts us P7, P8 in the Grand Prix. What a race to the finish line. And there we have it. George Russell takes the top spot in the Miami Grand Prix. He was leading the race in Azerbaijan, but he just could not finish it because of reliability. And there you have it, guys. That is our Miami Grand Prix. We end up P8. I think it's a solid performance compared to last weekend. P8 is probably the best we could have done, maybe a little better if we weren't hit with the red flag, but I'm happy with the points scored today, and we move on to the next Grand Prix. Well, guys, that is it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of the Miami Grand Prix, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, guys. Peace. Cheers.